while we're waiting for the others, basically for this 2 day session, so most of them are, I think they are already really usually used, but maybe sort of kind of like we do sort of a refreshment back on using Wayground, since we have some new features like anti-cheating and etc. So we wait another 3 to 2 minutes. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So for the Q&A, so I think maybe we can let them to ask directly to you. So we no need to pull all the question to until to the end of this session, because I think that they might be already start to open the Wayground and start to because maybe some of even me also, I already start to rearrange some activities for my coming class for next coming semester, like another more 2 weeks. So most of us with our semester on 9 March. Okay. And then that first 3 weeks of the class is will be online class. So usually we can see during those time, most of teacher will use that platform. And at the same times, I would like you to also introduce them how they can use it also Wayground as a platform in order for them to use it as in like kind of like a physical tutorial class, or maybe sort of a lecture uh, that we can have them on use it for uh, make the class more interactive and engaging. Okay.
Yes, got it.
So I think we can start. Since also we also recording this session, so I will also share it this session into our OER platform, Open Educational Resources platform. So maybe they want to refresh and then look back on this session. Okay. So good morning everyone. Assalamualaikum. It's a warm, very welcome to all teachers here and then participants yet that all joining today's session. So we said it as a Wayground in UTHM training series. So since we know now is a classroom is changing faster than ever, we seems like we are not only teaching a students, but we are teaching students that have more powerful tools in their pockets. Like, for example, now is a generative AI era. And then, so today our focus, we will look on the way of how we can use Wayground as a platform, since we have some sort of new features like AI features, anti-teaching movement, and that can help. I don't want to take more time on this, so I would like to invite our speaker, Miss Sharira from Wayground. Era, since we have some
Okay,
sort of
perfect.
new
Thank you
features
so
like
much
AI features,
for the introduction.
anti-teaching movement,
I'll also
and that
be admitting those who will join in as well. And nice to
I don't
meet
want.
you all, everybody. My name is Sharira Kirana. You can call me.
And in today's session, we'll take you along on what are the newest updates of Wayground and also give you a bit of a preview of what are the best suggestions on how to start creating engaging and interactive activity, as well as tutorial lessons that will actually impact your students in class. All right. So I've been informed that most of you have used around with Wayground, but today I'd like to explore a little bit more on the different side of the features. So of course, maybe to most of you have known our platform as previously called, and now we have changed our name to Wayground. And the reason why we want to shift from the use of quizzes to Wayground is that our platform doesn't just include quiz only. When we think about quiz, it's just answer the questions, multiple choice, basic types of questions. However, we have gone and expand beyond that. We have multiple different instructional sheet, as well as different resource activity types, as well as different multiple question types, as well as session modes. And that's where we'd like to explore together today. All right. Share the screen. Okay, perfect. So one thing that I want to take alongside with you, all of you today, is how can we create a lesson become impactful? So I have been mentioned that you are going to prepare an asynchronous class for the first start of the semester, and using presentations is very, very helpful. So I would like to ask to all of you, have you used presentation feature in Wayground before, or this would be your first? You can write down in the chat box. Don't hesitate, because I want us to create a more engaging session together. Okay, first time. All right. So thank you. Thank you. Okay. So I think some have tried it before. Okay. To those who are experiencing it as the first time, you guys are all in luck, because when we want to start a presentation, it's a little bit different compared to the it's a bit different compared to the typical presentation that you will have in activities. All right. So first things first, I would like to show how we can start the session. Whether you'd like to assign it to a class, we're going to discuss that a little bit later on. When to start the time, any supports of accommodations you want to send to teach students, but I'll just disable it for now. Turning on or turning off the question timer, anonymize the students' names, especially if it's a very big class with like 100 different students, or maybe also visitor students as well. We'd like to have it for serious team. So serious team is focused for the environment of learning. So there's no gamified in it as well. Or we can add on the anti-cheating monitor. So it will always give teachers alerts when students are leaving the full screen, switching tabs, and we can even disable right click as well as disable copy paste. Okay, to really ensure that students are actually focusing on the lesson itself. Okay, and even have the gamified modes for the leaderboard as well as the live reactions. And then we'll just scroll down. All right. We don't need to, because there's also video inside this presentation, and I'm going to explore a little bit more after this. But okay, even after adding the video to presentation, we can prevent skipping, allow students to speed up videos, and even show captions. Okay. All right. So I want everybody to join in our little presentation for today to experience one of the most impactful lesson activity within Wayground. All right. I will send the link to the chat box. Please join in. I'll also be admitting those who are still in process of joining as well. Okay. I'll send the link once more. Okay, if you prefer to join in by mobile devices, you can join in by the QR code up front, or type in any browser, joinmyquiz.com, and write down the code. Okay. I'll just, okay. So I'm seeing quite a lot of participants already joining. And one way we can motivate students is to allow them to customize their characters, because the higher the points that they get in every assessment, the higher the points that they can convert them to. So later they can customize and purchase in the marketplace. And let me see some of your characters. If I see, okay, I think some of you already have a customization of your characters. So while we wait for others, you could also prepare for any power-up buttons to use. Okay, we have around 60 participants already. Okay. So one thing I'd like to mention about our platform change as of now is that we have a very big impact on the use cases of all different subjects. So we don't only just focus on basic subjects, but we want to support as well for a higher education level subject. So any material that you have can easily be imported and added to Wayground and start using it with your students in class. Okay, we have quite a festive session today. All right. Okay. I think we're still stuck at 80, around 80 participants. Okay. Those who just have joined, please join activity. To those who have on specifically for presentations, you will notice that there is a bit of multiple different aspects within the presentation. And specifically for today, we'll have a couple of different parts of activity within the Wayground. Okay, I think we'll just wait. All right, we already have 102 participants. So I don't want to take too long of a time. So please type in joinmyquiz.com and write down the code. Or if you prefer to watch the process from the teacher side of view, from my side, you can always look at it from the meeting screen. All right, since we have quite a couple of participants have joined in, let's kickstart our session. All right, so the presentation have started. Presentation is perfect when you want to introduce a new topic or refresh a new materials with your students. In one case, we can add in your own slides or even start writing or start creating it manually. And how we can make this session more interactive, let's say I would like to ask all of my students to also annotate their screen. I just click the whiteboard feature. So the whiteboard feature is below here. When you click the whiteboard feature, you're allowing yourself to collaborate with students. We can show the current slide as well as click allow students to draw. So let's say I would ask my students, so all of you, so students, please circle the fruit that made Isaac Newton uh, question about gravity. So maybe I ask you to circle the fruit. So you can all annotate from your screen. Okay, and I can show my students' names. Okay, I have teacher Azli over here. Yes, you've circled apple. That is where we can create activities more interactive within the Wayground. Or you can add in, let's say, diagrams and designs directly to your presentation slides and have your students annotate from there as well. Even if you have questions within the presentation, you can also have students to type in their own answers. Yeah, whether they can circle or they can type an answer. That is where we can provide a more interactive, collaborative sessions with students. Okay. So I could check all one by one. I can check to those who still haven't circled anything. I can either call them out or give them as a reminder. Hmm. All right. I'd like to admit to those who have just joined. All right. So that is where we can have the whiteboard feature be helpful. Okay. So other than the whiteboard feature, let's say I would like to ask a student to help read what is on the board or to ask a question about their opinion of Isaac Newton. So let's say I click the spin the wheel button. So spin the wheel will randomly select a student, and it's your decision whether you'd like to ask them a question or have them answer what is on the board, have them read out loud the material in class. So this is where we can also create a engaging session where we can choose a random student without us having to choose them themselves. Okay, let's see who is the lucky teacher for today. Okay, all right. Oh, where is the arrow pointing to? Oh, okay. 101. Okay. Is teacher 101 in here today? Okay. All right. So thank you, teacher 101. So I could ask, so this is where we can have the engaging activity with students. So I would like to ask you, what's your opinion about Newton? So what do you know about Isaac Newton? So you can turn on your microphone and give a short response.
Okay, thank you, Miss Sharina. So Isaac Newton is once a person is a fundamental of the Newton law fundamental. That's about the Isaac Newton that I know with that.
Mhm. Okay, thank you so much for your answer. And that is an example where interactive presentations can come in handy with cases of interactivity. All right. So thank you so much for your answer. And we'll go to the next part. After you discuss a slide and a material, you want to make sure that your students are actually understanding what was the topic about. We can follow it up with a question slide. So, what discovery is Isaac Newton known for after seeing an apple drop from a tree? So you can please write down your responses. So over in here is where we can check how our students are actually progressing. To those who are still attempting to answer and to those who have answered, we can all check within the responses. Maybe I not show the name and I can just show the answers like that as well. Okay. So not only in presentations, we can see a much deeper detail on how they are progressing individually. We can also check their actual progress from their devices. From the anti-cheating monitor that I have set up in the settings, I can click over to the alert button right here and see students that have any alerts over in here. So teacher Afa, I will check. Teacher Afa has left the full screen and switched tabs and have spent a total of 3 minutes outside of the Wayground tab. So this is to minimize cheating and focus time and more focus time for students. Because with these alerts, we can either have the decision to deduct the students' points at the end of the case, at the end of the lessons, or we want to keep it as a reminder for them. Because at times we can notice if any of the students leave the full screen for a couple seconds, we might notice, okay, maybe it's just a simple switch tabs of the or the meeting and the activity. However, if it's more than 4 minutes or more than 1 minute that you might find any suspicious activity from students, especially if it's learning a more serious topic, this is where the anti-cheating monitor really helps teachers. Okay, so I can easily remove the participant if I notice that they are doing suspicious activity outside of the Wayground tab. And all of these alerts are live. I could always see them individually one by one, whether I'd like to keep the names anonymous or even show the names with fellow students on the screen. Okay? All right. Okay, can the anti-cheat catch dual screens? It can alert students, or it can alert both students and teachers if they are leaving the full screen. So automatically, if they have dual screens, it will show suspicious activity outside of the Wayground tab. So it will always be alerted. Okay, I think there is one question from teacher Cezawan Fight. Can Wayground link to students' email? Yes, it can. And I'm also going to explore a little bit more on how can that also be added with classrooms. Okay. All right, I think 56 of the students over here that I can check have answered the questions. So there's still 69 that haven't attempted yet. That's all right. We can end the question because we don't want to take too long in this specific question. There's still a couple of more features within the presentations that I'd like to explore on with. Okay, show answers. I think most of you have answered correctly. And okay, I think there's somebody that answered apple juice. Okay, that's very interesting. We're gonna see how that answer gonna be scored with the report system later on. Okay, after answering the question, we can either restart the question to those who still haven't answered yet, or we can go to the next slide. Now, the next slide will be followed as a video slide. Okay, so we can add interactive videos within Wayground itself. So not only presentation slides, questions, interactive video, especially if you have your own video tutorial on doing a certain materials or topics, you can even add yours as well, even adding your own video or search from YouTube. Okay? Right. Make sure everyone ready for the video.
Newton's first law. Newton's first law of motion, also called the law of inertia, was
Okay. So even in the video itself, we can add questions to make sure that students are actually focused in the video. All right, I think I have a question in the chat box. Can Wayground make slide like the notebook? Oh, I'm not familiar with the other platform that you have mentioned, but yes, you can make your own slide from scratch, or you can add your own slides that you have prepared. Okay, so the first law of motion is also known as the law of, okay, so I could not show the names and show the answers to double check. Okay. So other than the anti-cheating monitor that we can check students' progress in details, we can also give supports to students who are struggling in class from the classroom pulse at the bottom left of my screen in presentation, but it's at the top left at the assessment. So what Classroom Pulse do is to actually show students live scoring, especially to students who are experiencing low accuracy level. Below 20%, I can actually add any accommodations as a support. So if any students who are struggling, I can give them supports through accommodations directly to their own email. So if any low accuracy shows up in here or any recommended support, let's say I click all. So over here, I'll just click for teacher Tika. I want to give a support to the student. I understand that they have a bit of need for reading support. I could help by adding dyslexia font, or need extra help for hints because they might struggle in one certain question. Or I can allow them to actually hear what the question is. So these are supports that we can instantly add before the class or even in the middle of the class activity. And so we can easily apply for that activity to that student. Okay, but make sure it's your students have logged into their Wayground account, so it could easily be added in for the accommodations feature. All right, then we'll end the question right here. Now we can continue watching the video all together.
Law of motion, also called the law of inertia.
So as a teacher, I can easily pause it and even start spin the wheel to actually discuss the video all together with students, or even have the collaborative session for whiteboard as well. Okay, I'll just skip the video and continue on. Not only we can add presentation slides, questions, interactive video, we can also add in examples of simulation links. So over in here, I have a simulation link of a FET where you can give your students instructions on actually how to practice on Newton's first law of motion. So you can add them whether, okay, we click the net force, we click the motion, okay, click the motion everybody, and you can check how the force, the values and masses actually is affected within the Newton's law. Okay, so you can have a bit of a go on trying this simple FET exercise. Well, I'll check the question. Okay. After we set anti-cheating, it's cover all the activities that we create only for that class. So, but we already have an autosave. So if you already assign anti-cheating to a class, it's usually auto-saved that setting on the next class. But make sure you double check on the settings before you click start. The slide must be in PowerPoint format only, or we can have slides from any PDF format, PDF, images, Canva, PowerPoint, any kinds of slides that you'd like to share materials with can be imported to Wayground. Okay. All right, and one question as well, for what is the maximum length allowed for the video? For my personal opinion, because the activity that I created before is very short and I use the Wayground AI to help generate the question. If you want to use the AI to generate, I suggest it for around 15 minutes because it might take a longer time for the AI to generate from videos. But I have created a video exercise even up to 40 minutes. So I think it will, if you want to have very long video sessions with your students, I can ensure you that it's allowed to even have it for almost an hour as well. However, it will take longer time for the AI to generate questions based out of the video. Okay, hope that could answer. And can detect students change the screen? Not doing the task, maybe they do. Yes, it can detect. So it will automatically be alerted, like how I've shown you before. Students have switched tabs for how long? If they have switched tabs for, let's say, 10 seconds, you can skip that student. Let's say they experience a bit of trouble switching it. But if you notice that some students are leaving the full screen or leaving the tab for more than 1 minute, that is where you can take action either to remove the participant or deduct the student's points. Okay. Good morning, Sharira. May I know why my screen of Wayground is different from your screen? Because your screen is from the student's perspective, and on my screen is from the teacher's perspective. So I'm showing, not only giving you the experience of how the teacher will show, as well as on how the students will experience it. Okay. I'm stuck at slide 4. Cannot proceed to slide 5. Okay. Okay, yeah. For the teacher's whiteboard, I think you have to make sure what kind of devices you are using. So if you're using phone or tablet, there could be a bit of limitations, especially with the activity link for the present, so sorry, for the FAT simulation. But that's all right if most, yeah. Oh, if using laptop, majority are in stuck at slide 4. Can anybody mention about being at slide 5? Okay. Okay, so are most of you are in slide 5? Slide 4 or slide 5? Okay, I think to those who are still stuck in slide 4, apologies for the bit of delay. When there is no case of that, if exiting the full screen mode for too long, I think it's a bit of the case where because we don't watch the video as a whole, and that is where it could be stuck within the watch your teacher screen because we didn't watch the video as a whole. That's why there's a bit of delay from the transition of the video to the activity link, to the simulation link. But yeah, don't worry, this is just a simple showcase how you can add. No need. If students have, let's say they join in by laptop, you can also turn on the anti-cheating monitor. So you can have video watching, or you can even allow the video watching on their screen as well. This is just a showcase of how the video watching can be focused on the teacher screen. You can always change in the settings if the video won't be started by students on their own pace or by the teacher pace. So can just use one device only, or you want to turn off the anti-cheating monitor. This is just a showcase on how we can either add multiple parts, whether you could add anti-cheating monitor, add video, add simulation links, and switching between the meeting as well as the playground itself. I hope that could answer the question. So there's no need for two devices. So one device is already enough. Okay. So to those who are able to get a bit of a hands-on how the presentation feature are like, so please feel free. Okay, because we might take too long on this end. I'd like to end the presentation here. Okay. And congratulations to the top 3 teachers today. All right. And the other thing we value not only about engagement as well as interactivity, we also really value instant feedback of students. So we could check with the support of our AI. We have a bit of a quick action on how to help these 11 low performing students with the support of accommodations. And not only that, we can also have check the participants' responses and review. Okay, if you notice, there are some people that answer for the gravity as, I think, apple juice. I forgot which teacher was it. But with the help of the Wayground AI, we can have the auto AI evaluation. So, so teacher Tika mentioned gravity. However, from my evaluation criteria, I request for students to actually give a detailed review on how does he, what do you call that? How does he discover gravity? So over in here, every students have their own AI analysis. Explaining that gravity causes objects to fall towards the earth. It depends on how you create the evaluation rubric. So still get the points, but it's called for partial grading. and it comes back on how you set up for your students. If you'd like for your details for your question needed to be have detailed answers, you can edit that in the evaluation rubric. Okay. All right. I think some have been working now after rejoining the class. Yeah, sorry on that end. And now I want like to bring you along on experiencing the different parts of the Wayground activity itself. So over in Wayground, we have expanded our features to include more library that can support any kinds of subjects. You could easily search up any topic and either use it or start editing with the help of our AI actions. But I'd like to bring towards on creating resource. First, we can create assessments together. So if you'd like to follow alongside me, side by side, and start doing assessment with me, please go ahead. So opening to assessment, we can easily upload PDF, worksheets, lessons, any kinds of material that you want to focus on. So over in here, I would like to add my own PDF. Let's say if it's a unit or a journal article that you want your students to help read it with together, you can easily add in those assessments. Okay, whether you'd like to extract existing questions from the pages, over in here, I have for these pages, I can select which pages I want for the AI to generate as well. Not only extract, we can generate new questions. Make sure to select the correct grade, depth of knowledge, any question types, as well as the number of questions. You can always change the output language. So we have completely added in the language for Malay as well. So you could start using those in classes. Okay. We can, let's say, click over to Malay over here, and we can start creating these resources. I think I'll just use the example for English. Okay. Create the resources, and it depends on how heavy your PDF is and how many pages it has. It might take a couple of time for it to generate, but usually it will take around a minute or two. So you could easily add in any kinds of materials that you have, even handwritten notes. You can have them be integrated with Wayground as well. All right, we'll wait for a couple of time. So any kinds of material resources, or if you'd like to write it from scratch, you can also have it written down by a text or prompt. Okay, and there you go. The Wayground helped me create a question based out of the PDF that I create. All right, so I can easily add in images because from the pictures that you might see from the PDF itself, I can have the images either clip from the document directly, okay, or there's no need. We can double check for the other images as well. So, okay, how does the steering system help in vehicle movement? I can clip from the document where the image is taken. So I would take, for example, let's say use this specific image that is embedded in the PDF or question 8. Okay. And then I like to add this system or this diagram specifically to that question where they create from that clip of this document. Okay. So, all right. We could easily save changes, and that's where we can start using it with the students in class. And you might feel that these questions are still a bit too generic. You can add similar questions, add answer explanations, translate the quiz. And when you click to more options, this is where you can mention to the AI saying to uh, make the questions harder, something like that. And our AI will generate much more challenging questions for the students. Okay, here's a bit of a, okay, so over in that. Okay, or if you're already satisfied with this, start using it. And since you're already organization already have a school library, you can easily save the visibility either to publicly visible, restricted for only your own access, or everyone in your organization. So you can choose for which subject for engineering and university, and you can easily save it and publish it and start using it with students in class. That's where we want to limit the hassle for teachers in creating activity. So it only takes a couple of seconds and a minute or two. For the answer accuracy, does it need to be detailed, such as choice of words, small letters? You could always edit that later on. Let's say you want to ask the AI to create more variative questions, answers. You can also ask that. So this is how our AI extract and generate. And remember, our AI will only work by creating the activity based out of what you have imported. So they will not create any unrelated questions outside of the topic that you have imported. Okay? So that is how we can easily start creating activity by importing PDFs. And then I'll go to create a resource as well. So going over to assessment, you can add in your PDF, or you can start with prompt or text, or start from scratch. So start from scratch will give you the choices of the different question types. And one thing I did mention as well, if you generate with the PDF, you could always change from the multiple choice questions to a different question types as well. So we have gone beyond the typical MCQs. We also have high order and interactive, as well as late visual learning, math, and open-ended. So one example I'd like to show for visual learning that is best for image-based question. Let's say I would like to practice diagrams with my student. Okay, let's say I just write break system diagram, and I would like to use this image, for example, and our AI is in every part of the platform. So they will analyze this simple image and give recommendations of questions that are suitable for this specific diagram. Okay. All right. So over here, identify the parts that directly interact with break disk to create friction. I'm not good at specifically for engineering studies, but let's say on this position, okay, this would be correct. I think over here, this would be correct. And what about this one? Leave it as blank because it's incorrect. How about this part? Okay, you can just leave it as blank. So that is where hotspot and labeling will work and support you in creating image-based questions. And if you notice about the open-ended before, where it created auto AI evaluation as well as partial grading, we can use either open-ended or our audio response. So over in here, you can write down a simple question, let's say about critical thinking exercises, because over here, or even case studies, because we can type responses up until 3,000 characters. So over here, hardware characteristics are completely different from software characteristics. Justify. We can click enable and select on the grade. Of course, select for university, okay, and computers, and let's say we count for 5 points and click the partial grading. If you already have your own evaluation rubric, you can easily paste it here, or like always, generate the rubric with the help of AI. Okay. So let's say, all right. So if the student just answer like this, okay, hardware is physical. I think it will just have a half score, so they just get the score 2 out of 5 without extra explanation based out of the evaluation rubric. Okay? You can easily save and enable that. So that is where the AI can support in help of evaluation. Okay, so that is a little bit on the different question types, and I'd like to go back to the home page. Now I'd like to explore a little bit more on how we can create the presentations. So before we have created for the assessment type, now we go over to presentations. So this is where you can write and start making your own blank slide or bring your own content. So over in here, I'd like to import a PDF of a slide that I have. So you could also follow alongside me. Okay, so let's say for this material right here, for circuit presentation. So you can select which PowerPoint you would like to add in and have the AI support you in generating relevant questions to the PowerPoints as well. Okay. All right. Okay, and there you go. To ensure that every slides is followed up with a every slides be followed up with a question, they will have the question be added to the specific slides. Okay, we can start editing. You would like to add your own extra slides, add extra questions, adding interactive video. So how interactive video works, you can search within our library or upload your own video or even search for YouTube videos for any popular channels, or I'll just write down first.
Ira,
Yes?
I have a question here. For the assessment, like open-ended question. So is there anywhere to prevent students from copy and pasting from another Windows or PDF, for example? So I think maybe for those that who are late joining this session, maybe you can show them how they can click the anti-cheating. Okay.
Okay, of course. So you can prevent that with the anti-cheating monitor and disable the copy and paste, and I'll show a little bit more right after this. So this is where we can add in the videos, trim it down. So over in here, it's quite long. It's 30-minute video, so I'll just crop it down to
Hello,
to just 3 minutes and have our Wayground AI generate questions with the video. So not only presentations, PDF, worksheets, even videos as well. Our AI is there to support you in generating questions. And the difference with the interactive video is that it will ensure there is no students uh, who are not focusing on the video. So if they're just passive watching, we will have the certain timestamps throughout the video where they will have to answer the question first before they can continue to the next part of the video. So interactive video can be an activity on itself, or it can be an activity added to presentations. Yeah, something like this. And this is where you could also add the website links as per mentioned before. If you have any practices using simulation links, FAT, Desmos calculator, or any kinds of simulation exercises, you can easily add that to Wayground, just like how we did with the presentations before. Okay. So there's no need for students to go outside of the tab to do the simulations. They could easily do it within Wayground. Okay. So I think I'd like to show how we can assign to students, specifically with the anti-cheating monitor. Okay, wait a moment. Okay. Test. Okay, let me just do this. Okay. Just keep it as restricted. Oh. All right, I think there's something wrong with publishing my lesson here. I'll just quickly skip that. All right. So when you want to make sure that students will not copy or pasting any questions within Wayground, You can start by, depending on the live activity itself, you can have it by teacher led if you want to control the pacing of the students, or have paper mode. So paper mode is for a session without devices. And you can also print out any activity as a printable worksheet as well. Over in here, when you click worksheets, it will be printable as well. Or click with student pace, either for the classic mode, mastery peak to focus on accuracy building, test mode for formal assessments, and team mode for fun competitive sessions. But when you click over to the classic mode, this is where you can add the anti-cheating monitor over in here. So clicking the anti-cheating monitor will give alerts for students who are leaving the full screen, or doing off-task activities, or even going outside of the different tab. And we can disable the right click. So there's no use case. So we want to prevent any students right clicking and copying their answers and pasting them, as well as disable copy and paste. So it depends on how you can set up the activity, whether you like to have the question timer, or you would like to have it turned off, or you want students to be able to skip questions and attempt later, or you don't want students to actually see the answer after each question. You can validate them, either they're right or wrong, or just turn them off. Yeah. We can even allow redemption questions for them to have a retry on the questions they have mistaken. Okay. All right. There's actually still a couple of more things within Wayground, but I'll just mention it briefly. For interactive video, when we want to create it, it's basically the same like what I've showed you within presentation. And over in Passage, you can add your own PDF, whether it be for self-learning is perfect for students, because over in here, we can add our own PDF and have students actually do a self-reading on the PDF at home. You can assign it as a homework where they can read the PDF, follow instruction, and find the answers with the questions that have been generated with the help of our AI as well. So over here, okay, I'll just choose that and I'll just generate. So they will only generate questions based out of the passage that I have imported. So they can have the PDF be read by themselves and answer questions on the right side. Okay. All right. There you go. And other than that, we can also add in simulation links, just how our FET simulations can be added within the presentations. It also works the same for Passage. Okay. So when you click over to Passage, bring your own, and embed website is where you can add these samples of simulation practices. So any simulation practices will work as long as there's no login details to access the simulation. Something like this. All right. Okay, and last but not least, I would like to discuss about one question a teacher have mentioned about if we can give activities to students that have email rostered in together. Yes, when you have students roster email to your Wayground account, you can either create your own class or import a class that you already use. If you use any Google Classrooms, Microsoft Teams, you can easily roster the students' email together or create your own new class within Wayground. And what this helps is to actually see students' progress on long term, and we can easily assign those activity easily to students. There's no need for students to request where is the link, miss, or can you show me the QR code for me to scan? No, there's no need for them to do that. They can just easily access the Wayground dashboard, their own dashboard, if they roster into a class, or they can easily access their Google Classroom or MS Teams or other LMS that they use for them to easily access the assignment that the teachers have assigned from the Wayground. And we can add in the supports of accommodations as well. Okay, so a little bit on how we can assign the activity just like before. So, say I have amazing inventors in history over here. I'd like to click assign to set as a homework for student to self-learn the PowerPoint at home. I can click over in here as well. Assign to a class. I can just select the class and select to the class that have been rostered with my Google Classroom. Check off any needs of accommodations and start assigning. So there's no need for them to need any individual links. They can just easily access from their Google Classroom. Okay. All right. There's still many more to cover within Wayground, especially with the use cases of AI as well. So if you want to ask our AI to create lesson plans, it's also possible. So when you're at the explore page, scroll down to our Wayground AI. It will take you to our personal site for toolkits that can support teachers. You can even explore the AI toolkit as a whole. So over to this website, it will take you to be able to create questions for reward scenario questions, Bloom taxonomy level questions, create lesson plans, evaluation rubric, and other cases of AI support tools for teachers. Okay, and I'd like to double check on any questions.
So we have one question here. So could you please show some example with equation, graph?
Mhm. Yes, if it's for equation and graphing, you can easily find the topic that are existing within the Wayground because our filter has been upgraded as well. You can even filter the questions, filter the activity by the questions. So if you want activity that is focusing on using graphs, you can easily access that. So if I just search over to resources and then graph, graphing, and I would like to filter by the question itself. Whether you like to filter the subjects, the question types. So either for both graphing and math response, you just easily apply to those filters. So any kinds of diagrams or graphing, you could easily create within Wayground or search within Wayground and even start writing it from scratch. Okay, something like this. If it's for specifically for graphing equation, or you can add your own if there's any graphing simulations for different diagrams of it, you can even add it within Wayground. I hope that could answer the question. Okay, so we have like around 1 minute left. Are there any questions from all of you that you might find a bit, let's say, I might skip the specific topic, but overall, we have evaluated our AI creation to be able to be adjusted to any different subjects. So you can start using it with any of your materials or lessons that you're going to start using from the start of semester. So I suggest using the presentation feature, as you've noticed before, where we can have collaborative sessions with students as well as adding the spin the wheel. Okay. Are there any other questions?
Hello, Sharira. I'm not
Yes?
sure. I've been asked before. The Wayground can make an assessment, right? So
Yes.
we extract the assessment result in CSV file?
Result, yes. We can check it from the session attempt. So every session activities can be extracted and can be evaluated as well. So let's say I click over to color quiz in here and I can easily extract it over here to download. Okay. All right. Are there any other questions?
Okay, Ira, one question here. So for the answer of accuracy, does it need to be detailed, such as a choice of words, small letter, or etc.?
So for the accuracy, you can always change it depending on the settings. Especially if you want to use the open-ended, you can change it by the evaluation rubric. If you require for students to have perfectly written down grammar, or you want them to specifically mention a certain words within the use of capital letters, you can change it within the evaluation rubric. So that is where open-ended can be adjustable in any kinds of questions.
Okay, so means that okay. So one more question is, your suggestion is like we create a presentation, and then for that presentation we create lots of activity within that presentation. Is it?
Yes, we can use that. Or you can even start making from scratch within Wayground as well. So there's no need for you to use a different PowerPoint, because you can add images, add GIF as well when you want to create the slides from scratch.
Yeah, because if we create a single activities, means that we need to keep share the link to the student during
Mhm.
our lecture. Is it?
Yes,
Okay.
but if you're able to roster students and create your own classes within the Wayground, it will take off the hassle of giving individual links.
Okay. So means that if we just let the student doing their own activities in their self-paced, we also can click the anti-cheating to
Yes.
assess whether the student use any kind of resources to answer the question. Is it?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
So is there any more questions in the floor?
Dr. Zul, sorry,
Yes.
apa ni Kak Nana ni nak tanya. So before this, I've been using Wayground. Okay, so basically, there were some kinds of bukan acknowledge lah, but dia tulis kat sini premium. For example, I have created my own library here around 21 items, something like that. And then, but some item doesn't have any premium sign there. So what does it mean by premium or non-premium?
Okay, I think if I could answer for that. I think most of your account have already been rostered to premium. I think make sure you log in with the correct details.
Okay, correct detail, Sharira. Correct detail means using the UTHM email, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so I have been using the university email.
Okay. So means that before this might be Dr. Anim create the activities during we don't have any subscription of a premium account yet.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
That's why it's not appear that premium.
Okay, so now
Now you can go through back the activities that not premium, and then you can do some re-edit and then restructure it. And then you can also add the premium features, because basic account don't have any sort of assisted by AI. But premium account will be getting features for assisted by AI.
I see. So let's say if I click on the topic or apa ni whatever thing that I have created using that premium, means that I can use extra compared to the
Yes.
other things that I cannot use.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So okay, one more question. Should we create different background for different class to capture student assessment?
We can use the one activity for multiple different classes. So there's no need for one classes to be finished first to use the same assessment. No. So multiple classes can do the same assessment.
So means that we create first class. So how many? Like example, we have 4 class. So we create 4 class first, and then click the activities, and then just assign the activity to that certain class. Is it?
Yes.
Okay. So, but the class must be roster all the emails of the student. Okay. I understand now. Okay, so is there any question from the floor? Okay, yes, we have one. Yes, please, Dr. Mimi.
Okay, I have a question in relation to using the same tasks for all classes, right? Just now you said you can use that. But what if you want the time limit for a certain class? You give time limit, let's say 2 days for this class. So my first class is today, and then the next class is the next day. So first class will get 2 days, and then the second class the next day will get another 2 days. But how do I assign the difference in terms of the time limit?
You can type it on the assignment button when you want to assign to a specific student. There are details, or a specific class, there are details on when would you like to start it and when would you like it to end as well. Now,
Can you share it to us, Ira?
yes, wait a moment. I'd like to find a sample activity on it.
Yeah, great.
Okay, let's say I have these activities. So when you want to click start now, that is for live activity directly in class. But we can click assign over in here and it will show the details of the starting time. So you could even create an activity and assign it for the next week. So for the start and end time, we can change. Let's say I want to start it for on the Friday, on which time, starting from 12 p.m. and end session for 2 days, or even for, let's say, okay, 18 days and the time, or even allowing late submissions as well. Okay. So this is where we can specifically assign on the students. Okay, I think there's another question. So I hope that could answer your question.
Okay, we have one more question. So I would like to clarify about the open-ended question grading. My answer include the correct concept gravity, but since I added extra word, is it was marked as a partially correct? Should we only write the exact keyword or include all possible acceptable answer? Also, is it possible for the lecturer to review and adjust the mark if the answer is conceptually correct?
Okay, so yes, we can. Basically, it's all depend on the teacher's end, because if you want to have them specifically use just one word, you can edit that in the evaluation rubric. Or if you want the students to be able to have multiple various different answers, especially for, in my case, I ever use grammar practices. Of course, different students can write multiple different answers. As long as the same grammar is being used, their answers are still 100% correct. So it comes back on how you set up the evaluation rubric. Okay. And I think I see a question regarding if a teacher is allowed to edit later on of the marking. Yes, is even though we have the support of the AI evaluation, teachers are still at the end of the marking. So you can always click evaluate and let's say question 2, question number 3. So the student just answer yellow and I wanted to keep it as a higher point. So let's say 0.9 out of 1 and I can easily save that. Okay. And it will automatically be updated. Okay. And okay, we can upload student names. Yes, there's no need to connect to Teams or Google Classroom. You can start adding classes within Wayground without connecting to a Google Classroom. Over in here, so Sharira's class on the bottom here. This class is not rostered to Google Classroom or a Microsoft Teams, but this is just a completely rostering students by myself. So I can add students, share the class code for them to easily access. So this would be a class within Wayground. So they can access their own Wayground dashboard to find any activity that have been given to them. So I think I would like to show a little bit on the students' perspective. So here, this would be the student screen and Sharira's dashboard is right here. So if any classes have been rostered by me, I can check, okay, this class sunflower, this would be my class. And I could check any activity that are running, completed, that have been checked, that have been given by my teacher. Okay. Okay, yes, you can export students' answers, just like how I showed with before. Okay. Okay. Are there any other questions before we end today's session?
Oh, is there any more question?
Can we see the output for the student answers? Because I want to know whether that we can add the student names and their metric number, including with the answers.
Okay, yes. So this would be the sample of that I have extracted. So the overview, participant data, time data, and even quiz details. So I can even check if any what activity or the total started and specific data as well, overview, and view player, etc. Okay. So if this is what you are referring to, then we can easily extract students' activity after each assessment. Okay.
Okay. So I think there is no more question. Thank you so much, Ira. So I do hope that all the teachers will encourage their friends also in schools, in faculty to use this platform. And then we just have about 1 year to use it until March next year. I really do hope that all of them will use it, even not in the online class, but also in a physical class. So thank you so much about your sharing. And then I also will share all the example that have been emailed to me. I will share it back to all the teachers here. So thank you so much again. So thank you again for all your participation. So see you for next training series. So I will update on any more training series with Wayground. So thank you, Ra.
Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great day.